Om Swastiastu, Santang Raja. One day I was puttering around Minnesota, losing the self-control Olympics as a thought crossed my mind. You know how every mainstream anime under the sun has a collab with Sanrio, with like cute little outfits and stuff? What if my story had a collaboration with Sanrio? What the f would that even look like? So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Welcome back to another episode of Yap-ology, a place where I grace you, the viewer, with continuous strings of words while I draw. Now, as a disclaimer, this speed paint footage is a tad old, just a little bit old. Back in September, when I originally planned my quote-unquote return video, I originally planned for this speed paint to be my comeback to YouTube, but I pussied out last minute and basically left this footage to rot until today. So for some context, after setting my previous series on fire, I had developed a brand spanking new one that's a little bit simpler and a little more self-indulgent. And I called it Pulang Kampung, a slice of life sort of coming-of-age story about life as a teenager growing up in Bali, Indonesia. The story has a very near and dear place in my heart because it's basically my life, the anime. Therefore, it's oops all self-indulgence. It comes from a place of wanting to tell the real stories about my home, not just the Instagrammable versions where tourists come and eat their stupidly overpriced avocado toast while recklessly driving in Southeast Asian traffic. These idiots have never driven a motorcycle or a moped their entire life and they think this is a great place to start, while completely ignoring the people who live here. You know, the people who need to make a living while simultaneously having to deal with ignorant, insane tourists who think just because they spend money on a holiday here makes them think they have the right to disrespect our customs, culture, religion, temples, and homes because they want to be young and stupid, while also having to deal with a government that factually does not care about the locals and would rather prioritize the gentrification of our island for tourist convenience without thinking about the consequences for the people who actually fucking live here. But I'm not gonna touch on that because if we did, I would be here all day and I'm not about to make my itty-bitty heart condition level up, so let's just stick to my OC, shall we?
Feel better? Good.
We're currently still in the throw it at the wall and see what sticks phase of Pulkam. I'm just writing little snippets of lore here and there, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Speaking of which, if you want to dig into said lore more than I am in this video, then you might want to check out my Unveil account. I've had a couple of people ask me about it, so let me tell you about it more. Unveil is a platform made for artists, writers, and storytellers to show off our little special guys. I've been using Unveil for over a year now, since its beta release if I remember correctly, so it has the Raja seal of approval, along with the approval of 100,000 other creatives, so we got a nice little community over here. They have these character pages where you can show off your OC's traits that you can tack on and edit, along with a gallery to show off all the artwork you've drawn of them, and a neat little writing tab for those times you just want to yap about their lore instead of drawing it. If you have OCs from different stories like I do, you can keep them organized by sorting them into worlds, which makes it a lot more cohesive. I'm very thankful for that feature. The community is so sweet and encouraging, and it's genuinely so nice knowing there's a platform out there that's just full of people dedicated to having a good time. Not to mention they work overtime to make sure all AI slop stays far away from the platform. Once again, if you're interested, a link will be included in my description for you to check out. I hope you guys enjoy my little guys as much as I do. I'm gonna spend the first few minutes of this video actually explaining the basic plot of Pulang Kampung for you guys, and later on, while doing the final illustrations of these designs, explain my thought process a little bit more. So again, location, Bali, Indonesia, and timeline-wise, most of the plot happens between 2017 and 2018, and the characters are in 12th grade, so like senior year of high school. Got that? Cool. So the main premise of Pulkam follows this guy, Jester, legal name Justin. He was born and raised in Indo for most of his childhood before moving away to Singapore at the ripe old age of 10 years old for family reasons, and spent the majority of his teen years there. He honestly thought he'd be there till he graduates, but due to unfortunate circumstances, aka plot, had to move back to Indo for his final year of high school, leaving him to reacclimate to a life he left nearly a decade ago, and he is not happy about it, chat, let me tell you that. Now I say he's the main character of the story, but pretty much all these OCs I'm drawing are main characters in their own right. Aside from Jester, we have his main friend group, Taslin, who's the bestie, voice of reason, and student council president, Uma, the kind-hearted, kind of scary girl you ask life advice from, and Bobo, the quiet guy who has no enemies and never will on the basis that he's just that great of a guy. And then you have Levi, who's Jester's childhood friend slash future boyfriend, and of course Choco. You all know Choco. We all love Choco. There are, of course, more characters in this, but I'll get to them in another video for the sake of not making this one too long for me to edit, so let's just move on with the design, shall we? For Jester in particular, I sort of played favorite child and gave him my personal favorite character, which is Pochako. Now, you would think in a collaboration, Hello Kitty would get paired with the main MC in any anime since she's Sanrio's mascot, but shockingly, a lot of shonen anime have their MCs paired up with Pochako, which is honestly really nice. The main reason why I paired Jester up with Pochako is mostly because he's the only mainstream Sanrio character with green as their main color, at least in their marketing. Now I know Keroppi exists, but that doesn't suit Jester's vibe at all. Keroppi has been delegated to my other green OC, Rio. I wanted to incorporate some iconic elements of every Sanrio character into these outfits, and right off the bat, Pochako comes in swinging with absolutely nothing for me to work with aside from his ears. It feels a little bit lazy just slapping on his ears onto a beanie, but it's not like I could do anything else with them, at least not that I could come up with. I checked everyone's wikis to see what elements of their personality I could put into these designs, and Pochako is kind of a jock, so I gave Jess a varsity jacket and a sporty print on the left side of his overall pants to call back to Pochako's hobby. And his favorite food has been ice cream, so I gave Jess a necklace that in my head are those like plastic decora kabachans that you would get from Strawberry or something. Looking back, it's a wee bit random, but it's cute, I'm not complaining, it's cute. Here's the final design. Tie up your shoes, my guy, you're going to trip. Okay, in order for me to explain this pairing, let me lord up a little bit for you guys. This is Taslin. She's the student council president and resident gremlin, and she's an artist, and she has this OC/Sona called Rainy Days that I made into a VTuber, and she's fish-themed! And she's teal! And what better teal fish to pair her with than Hangyodon? I am so happy Hangyodon got popular in recent years because if he didn't, I don't think I would have even known about his existence. I really like him, he's super silly and he guards my toothbrush every night. For Tylen's design, I knew right off the bat I wanted to give her a bucket hat. I remember I was walking around London one day and I saw this girl wearing one with her hijab and I clocked that shit and said that's what Taslin coded gimme. And so she can match with Hangyodon better, I added his fins to the hat. I don't wear hats often, but this feels like something I need in my wardrobe, and I'm honestly shocked this hasn't been conceptualized into pre-existing merch already. I added a scale pattern to the edges of her sleeves because fish. I tied her hijab up in a way that looked like a fishtail because fish. And I gave her little fins at the back of her shoes because fish. Of course, Hangyodon needed his bestie, so to complete the look I gave her a Sayuri plushie purse and she's all done. She's so silly, I love them. This is Vi, full name Levi. He is Jester's childhood best friend. They met when they were literal babies, and throughout their kid years, they were practically inseparable. They did everything together, and they would help each other out in every way, shape, or form. And when Jester had to move away, it hit Vi really, really hard. Because not only was he his best friend, but he was also really, really in love with him. He kept his feelings a secret for their entire childhood because he doesn't know what these feelings are. He was like 10. But as a teenager, when they were reunited, those old buried feelings came right back up to the surface. For Vi's collab design, I decided to model it after this version of Hello Kitty, because this is the version of Hello Kitty I see in my head when I hear the name Hello Kitty. She's also famously 3 apples tall, so of course I give I some apples to hold. I think at this time the Paranoia music video came out, the one by Heartsteel, and I absolutely fell in love with Set's design, primarily because of the hat. I didn't think you could pull off cat ears on a masculine design without making it look silly, but Riot proved me wrong, they proved me very wrong. Further taking inspiration from Set, I gave Vi's beanie like weirdo staple piercings to look like Hello Kitty's whiskers, and the bow was too iconic to leave out, so I kept it and I slapped it on his beanie. This man is very comfortable in his masculinity, and he will happily rock this look without any sort of shame. Oh, my beloved! Not gonna lie, I kinda ran out of ideas for her, but you know what, I tried my best, and that's enough. There isn't much for me to say about this design, so I'll just lore dump to you guys a little bit. You can probably tell by the speed paint and, based on what she is holding, but Uma is blind. She uses her cane primarily when she's outside or when she's visiting a new place, but both at home and at school, she doesn't use it often, if at all, because she already has her paths memorized. Here's your fun fact of the day that I keep having to remind people. Most people who are considered legally blind can still see. I think the statistic is only 10% of people who are legally blind have no sight. That might be completely wrong, so don't quote me on that. But the majority of blind people can still see to an extent, so they can still do things like read, text, watch television, etc, etc. For Uma specifically, the best way I can describe what her vision looks like, imagine the worst case of nearsightedness you can think of. That's her. That's how she sees the world. Glasses don't work, trust me, she's tried. I paired her up with Kuromi because they're both goth. Actually, I have no idea if Uma would even be considered goth, but she's a metalhead. Her favorite band is Shaman's Harvest, and I need y'all to listen to the Smokin' Hearts and Broken Guns album, please. Their cover of Dirty Diana is so good. I need y'all to listen to it because that is my girl. Now this is the part of the video where I shout out the person who originally got the ball rolling on me making these Sanrio designs. Everyone say thank you to me at Go for this one piece of fan art based off of a throwaway conversation from my Discord server! Yay! I did not change much of Pobo's design from this fan art, it's practically beat for beat, but I live by the saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're not fixing shit, it's perfect. He looks like an old man and it's so on brand for him. He's a very sweet guy, he has not a single bad bone in his body and is incapable of things such as hatred or anger. Unless you're an aphid, because those things are f***ing nasty and gross, and if you have plants you know exactly what I'm talking about. Aphids, aphids, however the hell you pronounce them, those things. Pobo is what I like to call a Disney princess character. Everywhere he goes, he always somehow manages to attract any sort of animal and they end up following him because they know if they act cute enough, they'll get a treat, or a pat, or sometimes most likely both. By the way, if you already know about this character, you probably know that he doesn't have his left leg. And you're probably wondering why he has a meat leg where his prosthetic leg should be. Easy answer, I forgot which leg was the prosthetic, so I fixed it in post. I'm sorry, I forget about my own OC's designs a lot, I'm sorry. I don't know my left and rights, guys. And last but not least, we have Best Girl, Choco. Of course I had to pair her up with Cinema Roll, how could I not? They're literally perfect for each other. I think I was going for cafe cutie vibes with this one. I gave her an apron to break up the monotony of her overall skirt and made the buttons connecting the panel to the straps little cinnamon roll swirls. I gave her little loopy ribbons to look like Cinema Roll's ears, she's holding some balloons because, you know, Cinema Roll floats. And finally, I turned her usually blue blemish patches into pink so they'd look like his little blushies. It's getting harder for me to talk about these designs because I made them like 7 months ago, so I don't have much to say about them, so I'll just lore dump instead. Fun fact about Choco, that's not her actual eye color. Her natural eye color is actually brown. She wears those contacts every day, so much to the point that people just accept that they're blue, so when she forgets to put them on, it's kinda jarring that she doesn't have her usual blue eye stare. This is off topic, but I feel like I need to get better at drawing shoes because I'm looking at this illustration now and I did not do those Mary Janes justice. Oh well, not a problem for another day. Okie dokie, looks like I'm finally done. Sorry I couldn't go more into detail about these guys. I'm still getting used to doing the whole Yap style videos. I hope you can forgive me for how weirdly my videos are formatted. I'm having fun making them and I'm just happy that I could finally get back to getting enjoyment out of this hobby. Thank you for the wonderful reception from my previous video. It's actually wild knowing that so many of you still remember me from my Automatic days, and I hope to make more content that you all enjoy as much as I love making them. Thank you so much to my lovely Discord members for your beautiful, amazing fan art, and I'll see y'all in the next video, whenever that may be. Cheers!